Hello, my name is Zach Griggs, and I'm the Family Ministries Coordinator here at Williamsburg United Methodist Church, and welcome to the midweek video. This is our chance to just check in and share some of the exciting things going on in the life of the church. One of my favorite things that's happened in Family Ministries this summer is our youth mission trip. So we had the opportunity to spend one day serving in Williamsburg and 4 days serving and learning in Richmond, Virginia. And the goal of all of it was to be serving our neighbors in the community and to be doing some learning and reparative work in racial relations and racial justice. So on our first day of the week, we spent some time in Williamsburg serving at Grove Christian Outreach, which is a fantastic ministry partner who provides food and other resources in the Grove community in Williamsburg. But we also took a tour of the historic Williamsburg First Baptist Church, an African-American congregation just on the other side of campus from us here over on Jamestown Road. We learned about their history as a congregation as one of the first African-American congregations in Virginia and even in the country. And then we got a chance to go and see the ongoing reconstruction of the First Baptist Meeting House in Colonial Williamsburg, as well as see some of the exhibits at the art museums. Later in the week, we worked with several nonprofit organizations doing wonderful work in Richmond, including Shalom Farms, who works to provide low-cost or even no-cost fresh local produce to underserved communities across Richmond. We spent some time picking blueberries, and pulling weeds at Shalom Farms and hearing about all of the work that they do to provide food, especially in communities that don't have easy access to fresh produce. We also learned about the racial justice work that Richmond Hill community is doing at the Richmond Hill Retreat Center. We got a chance to worship with them, to tour their dwelling where they know that enslaved people lived on their property, and to hear about the ways that they are partnering with the local community to raise up a generation of African American leaders in Richmond. We also worked with Belmont Community Resources, which is housed at Belmont United Methodist Church. That's a large food pantry that provides food to over 2,000 people each week. So we spent time packing produce and working with them. We also spent a lot of our time learning about how we can be better neighbors across the racial divides that are especially prevalent in Richmond, but also here in our own history in the city of Williamsburg. So we spent time touring various sites in African American history in Richmond. We visited the African American History Museum and learned about some leaders in the area, as well as some of the history of slavery and emancipation and freedom and social justice that has happened in that city. All of this was really done with the hope that we would be able to lead our youth in living out their baptismal vows of being active and engaged in the world to bring visible signs of God's love in the community. And that is something that all of us as baptized Christians are called to do as part of our baptism. And this week, we're actually getting ready to celebrate a baptism of one of our youngest members at Williamsburg in worship. So that's a great reminder to us also that our baptism is not something just for a select few, maybe the ordained clergy or those who are called to go overseas to mission, like on the Honduras trip. But we are all called by the very nature of our baptism to go and participate in working out our discipleship in active ways. The writer of the book of James helps us struggle through some of these questions of how do we make our discipleship active in the world? How does what we do in our sanctuary, which is just on the other side of this wall behind me, in our worship, how does that also pair with making God's love visible in the world? And the author of James says, what good is my faith if I see a neighbor who doesn't have the daily food that they need to survive, and I walk by them and I say, peace to you, be warm and eat your fill. But I know that they don't have the food they need, and I don't pair my faith with my works to help provide, to share my resources, to care for my neighbor's bodily needs and not just their physical needs. So I'm really proud of our youth in working to understand the physical needs of Richmond and of Williamsburg, but also to put their feet in action, to put their hands in action as they extended God's love in mission to provide food, to provide comfort, to provide friendship to people across racial lines in our community. So that's something that I will keep wondering about for the rest of the summer and into the fall, especially as we prepare for some hands-on mission work that our congregation will be doing this fall, is how do all of us work out our discipleship as baptized United Methodist Christians by extending God's love to our neighbors in acts of service and mission. That's all I have for you this week. So go in peace to work out your own discipleship in experiencing God's love and sharing that love with everyone you encounter. Peace.